The long-awaited mobile translation of Mario Kart has finally revved itself onto devices across the globe, and it comes with all the franchise staples to boot. You'll be put through your paces in multiple cups, each with 3 maps pulled from the series' long history, as well as a challenge map to round out each cup. The game also cycles through themed tours, so the set list of maps will change regularly, keeping things fresh. It's basically a simplified take on the franchise's career mode.
What isn't simple, however, is the controls. The kart is automatically and constantly accelerating, so you don't have to worry about that. But rather than a simple on-screen joystick, you'll be rocking your mobile device left and right to steer, tapping and swiping back and forth to use items, whilst also tapping and swiping to drift. Look, I get it, it's a mobile game, so you have to shake things up, but look at Will. Does he look like he's having fun? No, he looks stressed. Thankfully, you can disable the gyroscope controls and just focus on tapping to drift and using items. Though in both modes, it does often feel like you're not in complete control of your kart.
Yeah, you're kind of just bumping into either side of the screen, like a bowling ball down an alley, or I guess a green shell down a racetrack. The maps are super linear, keeping you on the track at all times, so there's rarely a risk of bumping off the edge or driving into the slower sand dunes, which makes the driving feel a little too easy. Especially when you pull away from the pack in mere seconds and never see them again.
Well, that is until you unlock the higher CC racing modes. Acting as difficulty settings, you can jump between the different modes right before racing. Unlocking 150cc races brought in more challenging races to deal with, which helped to pick up the pace in the fun department. Though if you're after an even greater challenge, you'll unfortunately have to sign up for the Gold Pass. This monthly subscription service has you handing over $7.99 a month to unlock features that really should be available to all. What's next, paying to choose a kart?
Well, not exactly. Adopting a random chance roll, you'll be dropping 5 rubies to fire off the pipe, which blasts out new karts, drivers, and parachutes. Each race suggests a certain combination of items, giving you a greater starting score, as well as extra perks like a stronger combo bonus, or additional item slots for those pesky shells and bananas. It was odd being forced to use specific kart loadouts, considering it's usually the job of the player to weigh things up like better acceleration, but worse handling.
Whilst it is a pretty big departure from the console games, it is kind of a style I expect from one of these mobile titles. Plus, it all comes together when choosing the correct loadouts to finish with higher points, unlocking those much-needed stars. You can also level everything up, gradually boosting bonuses and stats. Plus, there's a few little gifts containing rubies and items sprinkled throughout the tour, which is a nice little incentive to keep on racing.
Totally, and despite taking a while to hone your driving skills, I did find myself falling into the rhythm of racing, unlocking bits, leveling up, racing. But the longer I played, the more something seemed a little off. You see, the further into the game you go, the clearer it becomes that you're going to be shelling out cash to ever truly cross the finish line.
Yes, the cracks did start to splinter somewhat. Those little gifts you unlock between cups, well, the more rewarding prizes are locked away behind that gold pass we mentioned before. Earning coins and leveling up your items, that has a daily limit, which once reached means the racing gives no rewards outside of winning stars. Receiving the bare minimum for your efforts while something greater dangles just out of reach feels really manipulative to me.
Not to mention those lovely rubies that you'll need to fire off the pipe, well, they start to be dealt out in lesser numbers. So it's no longer possible to constantly bring in new karts, drivers, and gliders. And with the game's tiered rewards, it'll often be impossible to pick out a loadout that gives you the desired score. You'll struggle to get enough stars, which will set you back when trying to unlock new tracks. So you'll be forced to buy rubies to potentially unlock the items that you need. I thought Mario Kart was all about jumping in and having a quick fun race with your mates.
Well, you thought wrong. And at the time of review, multiplayer isn't available yet, so you're limited to a pretty basic solo play. There are occasional ranked cups, which have you aiming for a high score, reaping some rewards for your efforts. Those few freebies you get do help to spur you on, but sadly they are few and far between.
Blue shells.
What?
We're just talking about negative things in this game, and blue shells are still in this game, and they still haunt me. Jem, can we wrap this thing up?
Fair enough. Look, this could be a pretty fun Mario Kart title, with great visuals, strangely enjoyable controls, and a constant stream of maps. But the game's constant pull towards microtransactions really hurts its overall appeal for me. So I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
It is super disappointing that all of Nintendo's recent mobile efforts have all fallen to a pay-to-win model. There are still a few fun hours to be had before the monetary dread sets in, so I'm giving Mario Kart Tour 2.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Achoo!
Oh, bless you.
Thanks. I think I'm getting a little sick.
What? Viruses! Quick, we need to call the doctor. Hello?
It's me, Mario!
Dr. Mario World is a free-to-play match-3 style game for mobile devices. It's a successor to a Tetris-style game simply named Dr. Mario that was released in 1990. Though here in 2019, the gameplay is quite different.
The times, they are a-changin'. The aim is to drag coloured capsules to match them with the corresponding viruses and clear the board. Loose capsules will float to the top of the screen, so you need to keep an eye on what you're not matching just as much as what you are. It's pretty straightforward stuff and has a few similarities to games like Candy Crush.
The first few levels are almost painfully easy, but as you progress through the stages, they introduce new obstacles to mix things up. There's frozen viruses, which need to be matched twice to clear, or viruses in bubbles that float to the top until you pop them. Oh, I tell you, Will, airborne viruses are no joke.
Oh, not at all, but thankfully there's plenty of doctors on hand. There's a few different playable characters, each with different special abilities. You can also have up to 2 assistants who give you little buffs. All your favorite Nintendo characters are there.
However, you may have some difficulty actually getting to play them. Characters are unlocked via a raffle system, which costs a whopping 4,000 coins or 1 staff ticket to play once. While coins and tickets can be earned for free, it is a slog, and tickets aren't easy to come by. This is the point where the natural enemy of free-to-play games rears its ugly head: microtransactions.
Oh, yeah. It costs 40 diamonds, the premium currency, to spin the wheel for a new character. This is about 5 real-world dollars of spin, but what character you'll get is completely randomized. And there's a higher chance for you to get assistants instead of doctors. A little bit of doctorly advice: if the diagnosis is you're feeling a little tempted, I prescribe chatting to a grown-up before you make a purchase.
It's a bit cheeky, hey? There's frequent pop-ups asking if you want to buy perks, like extra capsules, using diamonds. The game also encourages you to visit the shop daily by giving you a small free gift every day. Not to mention, it requires an internet connection to play, which feels like a way of making sure you can connect to the shop at all times.
Yeah, I don't much like the idea of the game sneakily putting microtransactions in front of you constantly. Plus, you can get locked out of playing. It costs 1 heart to have a run at a level, and while you do earn a heart for completing it, they take half an hour to replenish, and you can only hold 5 at a time. Because the microtransaction beast never sleeps, you can of course buy more hearts using diamonds, but otherwise you can run out pretty quickly, especially if you're trying to 3-star a level.
However, you can get unlimited playtime in Versus mode, which was actually my favorite mode. The fast-paced battle puts you head-to-head against a real player online. You'll each be scrambling to clear as many viruses as possible, which adds viruses to your opponent's screen. It was tense and really tested my doctoral skills.
I think it tapped into your competitive spirit a little too much. You were certainly screaming a lot in frustration playing.
Bradley got to win!
I think I would have enjoyed this more if I got to try out different doctors. Variety is the spice of life, and I must say, this is a little under-seasoned.
Will, we're doctors, not chefs. All in all, Dr. Mario World is a good-looking game with some enjoyable gameplay. It didn't feel as polished as I'd expected, and I sometimes felt the game incorrectly prevented me from getting a capsule where I wanted it, but the Versus mode had me pretty hooked. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Rad, I'm always going to be bothered by games that push microtransactions. It's fun for a bit, but the gameplay and design just doesn't justify how badly it wants you to spend money. I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.